So, good morning, good evening, namaste, hola, bonjour, and vanakkam. This is Namya, Joshi, your host for the day. Welcome to a special episode of the podcast, Each One, Teach 10, An Amazing World is 10. This is an inspiring venture where we will be discussing that STEM is part of every day for every kid. We all will learn together how to build a STEM culture. Well, for today, my guest is a passionate advocate for education, a dynamic business icon, and a proud Indian. Rakesh Bharti Mittal Chairman, Governing Council, Satpal Mittal School, and Vice-chairman, Bharti Enterprises, India's leading business group, having interests in telecom, space, agri-food, business, financial services, and realty. He's also the member of the All India Board Studies for Postgraduate Education for Research in Engineering and Technology. It's a pleasure here to have you, sir, today. So, how have you been?
Well, I was the top of the world.
Oh, that's great, sir.
But before you really start the formal podcast, I must admit, I've been hearing every now and then about your achievements, but they came in capsules. Today, I saw them together, right from the very beginning. Wow.
Thank you, sir.
Wow is not the word. And I feel so proud that we have enabled you with the Satpal Mittal School, created a strong platform. My only regret is that I am number 39 on your podcast.
There's actually a special episode, so it will be special
Thank you.
episode 1.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And when you were presenting, you talked about each one teach 10. So you are 10x of what we believe at Bharti Foundation, where we say each one teach one.
Okay.
And then that also is because we are dealing with the students from very disadvantaged sections of society. And I'm so very happy that when we started this program, the students started educating their parents. And I remember this is now almost 10 years plus. The Times of India carried almost a three-column article on one of my students in class 1 in West Bengal, who was teaching his parents at home and who learned to read newspaper and write and sign their name, write their name. So, and he said, well, my inspiration I got was every notice board talks about each one teach one. I said, why not start from home? So you are 10x of that. And I believe that with your interactions which you've had with so many people, 10,000 plus teachers and young boys and girls, I'm sure this message has been driven hard.
Right.
And this will create a tsunami effect.
Thank you, sir. Will we start, sir, with the questions? Okay. So, my first question to you is that, as you know, during the pandemic, we've seen that technology has transformed everywhere that we students engage in the classroom. So, what do you see as the greatest opportunity of science and technology, and how can we have them together in the education?
So, I think this is something which is inherent and integral part. If India has to be amongst the top 3 economies of the world, we are moving towards that without a doubt. And there are many, I would say, tens of thousands of initiatives which are running across the country to be there, to take us to that position in the next decade and a half. But clearly, if I look at pre-pandemic, most of the time, the online education system was not seen as a very qualitative delivery platform. And then pandemic hit us. And to my mind, all hell broke loose at that point of time because the students were not coming. And you could not afford that the education or learning stops at that. And let me share with you, again I go back to the Satya Bharti schools, which we run at the Bharti Foundation. how the teachers in villages, whom generally we say finding teachers is very difficult, and that becomes, if I use the same acronym of 10x of finding a teacher in a city like Ludhiana or a remote village in Punjab, Haryana, West Bengal or other places, how they really worked and turned around the situation of creating lectures, videos. I think my own schools, the teachers created about 1,000 plus WhatsApp groups, and they were delivering education because the kids could use the phone of their father, and everyone was sitting at home. The problem which I see is that while online education is something which we need to push very, very hard, the physical touch and feel is also important.
Right.
Because there's a great learning when you come to school. The other problem which I see is, all the children who are sitting here, I can only say that all of you are truly blessed and every Satya for that matter. But when you go into the rural hinterland, when you go into even the slums in the big cities, the students don't have a phone, they don't have an iPad, they don't have a laptop. How do you deliver that education online? So that is a great challenge where the governments are talking of giving smart devices, smartphones to young boys and girls. But one thing which we miss in India, and this I learned when I was having a chat with one of the professors at IIT. He says we talk about why after school the children don't go for higher education. One is, of course, a large segment of society, the parents cannot afford to pay fees. And therefore it becomes a challenge, or for that matter, they have not secured good marks. But then there are many other higher educational institutions which are available. But that segment, the young boy, young girl, has also the responsibility of taking care of her parents, her family, and therefore they can't come to college. And there is where online education becomes extremely important. You are working, but you are also getting your education online, your certificates of graduation, or for that matter, computer sciences and all. Having said that, when I look about the technology as a whole, I think in India we need to scale it up significantly. And that significantly when I'm talking about is girls in STEM education is something which is extremely, extremely important. We are involved, I'm in the governing board of Laksha University, and we started a Bharti scholarship, and I gave the task to the admission team. I said, I need as many girls in the engineering courses which we are going to offer. That's a engineering and computer science university. And currently, they received their first batch this year. They just started in Mohali. So out of 17, we have 4 girls who are going to pursue engineering as Bharti scholars. So I believe, and this is a message for the parents as well, girls are much better than the boys. Boys don't take that otherwise. I fall in your category. But girls are always more serious, more committed, more focused, if I must say. And the parents generally feel, BA kar lo, arts humanities kar lo, you're only going to get married and settle. I think the world has changed. The girls are not only showing the resilience, but also delivering. In the corporate world, in corporate India, in politics, in medicine. You pick up any sphere, you see girls shoulder to shoulder leading the pack. And therefore, when we talk of STEM education, that is where you are laying the foundation. These are the foundation years in school, which prepare you to go into your higher education. And when I talk about higher education, gone are the days when we were students. It was either medical, non-medical, commerce and arts. These were the 4 streams, right? And when you go into the engineering, it was electrical, civil. During my time, I had electronics and instrumentation process control as well, which I did. I may not look like an engineer, but that's what I did. But today, the world is moving at a very, very fast pace. all future technologies, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, machine learning, robotics, is changing the way we are going to live and lead our lives. And for that, STEM education is extremely important. And within this STEM education, we must bring girls at very, very large scale into this.
Right, I second with that, sir, because I've seen that how technology has been able to affect every era of how we are implementing the things around the world. And when you mentioned about how teachers have played a very important role during the pandemic, like some of them never even knew what exactly education is, and they came just for the students to learn all those tools, and they gave the days and nights to create tutorials for us that at least we could learn and our learning could never stop. And I also see like science coming as in education and technology very helpful for children with disabilities as well, because sometimes they might not be able to enjoy the facilities that other students have. But with technology in science and other fields, they've been able to do the same things as well at the same time. So I think if we have technology, not just in science, but in every single subject or every single era, then we can make learning very much engaging for the classroom and also make the hard concepts easier to understand.
No, absolutely, Namya. I think that goes without saying. And generally when we talk about STEM in engineering, or for that matter, research in engineering, innovation comes in every sphere of life,
right.
Every segment of education. And I believe there is a moment of reckoning for Indian industry, Indian academic institutions to really collaborate very, very hard, very, very seriously, in changing the curriculum. So today, if you see the young boys and girls having passed through your 4 or 5 years of engineering, medical sciences, or 3 or 4 year computer sciences, by the time the child is graduating, the world has moved. The technologies have disrupted. So every 5 years there is technology disruption happens, right? So therefore you cannot have a situation where you are teaching your kids things which are of the last few decades. And the problem is the faculty, the professors, the teachers in college, universities, they are comfortable in teaching what they are. They don't want to move beyond that. And that is my serious reservation today. Being involved with some of the higher education institutions, I am pushing very, very hard on this agenda, including with the MHRD, that we need to really have serious engagement between industry and academia. So let me tell you today what happens. Academia only wants to engage with the industry at 2 points. One, when they want their students to be sent for summer internships. Right? So there's 8-week summer internship. And the second is when the children are graduated, placements. Yeah. Right? Which is not correct. And therefore, if you see globally, industry academia engagement on research is so high. The funding available to the academic institutions is very, very large funding grants which come from there. Why doesn't it happen in India? Because academic institutions don't want to engage. And if you write a check, they say, thank you very much, don't ask where we are spending and how we are spending. So the industry says, okay, I can take a walk. So therefore, I think there are 3-4 areas. One, changing the culture. I think that is the immediate need of the hour. Second, how can we really collaborate in cutting-edge research and innovation particularly? And for that, the academic institutions have to really present what we are doing, based on which the corporate India will have confidence in putting money on the table. So that's the second. The third is, and I believe this is something which I picked up when we were planning to set up the university, joint faculty appointments, where the academics want to get the star faculty. They can't pay because their pay scales are different. So you bring industry. Industry says, okay, I'm putting a check here, and this guy is now a joint faculty. So he or she teaches at college, university, but spend a week, 2 weeks in my operations, right? So that engagement brings the quality of the faculty because they are getting their salaries, but they're also getting money from research funding available. And then you get research centers which will open up at the academic institution. So the entire ecosystem starts moving. And by the way, internships and the placement is something which must happen. In this, I also believe the government must come forward and say we will be providing matching grant to the private of what the private sector is putting on the table. And then we need to see how this research is not only for publishing in peer journals, but how these research projects are getting converted into commercial applications. So I think that's the ecosystem which needs to develop. Right. And for that, again, technology is the centerpiece of doing that.
Curriculum changing, and then we need to add research, and ultimately it means use tech for good so that we can make the future better. Right, sir. So moving on to the next question, I have this belief, and everybody here believes that we have this flame of passion burning inside us. But the only thing is we need to know how to channelize that flame. So if I may ask you that, how can we channelize the power of youth?
I think that's a very, very powerful question. First of all, let me tell you that I was waiting for this moment for the last 2 weeks when we finalized. I draw my energy when I interact with people like you. Today it's super energized, and the work which you have done and the accolades which you have won. I have not done that in my 66 years. You've done it in your 10, 12, 15 years of age. I think this is something which is absolutely electrifying. Channelizing youthful energy, I think, is something where India is sitting at a big advantage globally. So if you see, our median age is about 28 years now, give and take, right? We are the youngest by median age in the world. And channelizing the youth comes from education, which starts in schools. No, first, I think, let me just step back. It starts from at home. Parents, grandparents. There is so much of learning which happens in the formative years of your up to 3, 4 years of age before you really hit the formal schooling system. And I'm sure I met your mom, dad, I met your grandfather. I think they are very, very proud of this moment, and I really thank them and complimented them that we have you with us at the Satya School. And then in school, the learning begins. And it comes from various diverse areas. One is your class education. You are engaging with the teacher is teaching a subject. But then you are spending time with your friends, playing games, sports, libraries. All that is putting brick by brick, building the career of a person. Right? It now depends on the person how much of learning you want to imbibe and carry it. You know, like they say, you can take the horse to the water tank, but you can't force him to drink. The horse has to drink the water. Yeah, that's the same. So similarly, when we are in school, we sometimes get fed up. It's too much of pressure, too much of peer pressure. You go home, you have to study. So today, if you see, actually, why was computer and mobile phones were built to make life easy and less time consuming? You think it's less time consuming? We are spending more time into the computer and onto the mobile phone screen. So there is a world around you which we ignore. Right? We learn to ignore, actually. Let me tell you that. And I can tell you my mantra of life, why am I happy all the time? Because I learned very early in my life that there are so many small things which happen around you and can give you happiness. If you catch that moment, you will always be happy. If you ignore that moment, you will always not be only unhappy, you will be creating stress within the system, within the families, within the communities. So therefore, I would say learning is a process which starts in the initial years, but it carries on till the time you leave the world. Learning is not only in school, learning is not only in the universities. Learning happens every single day when you interact, when you meet people, when you talk to them. And let me also tell you, learning is not always coming from a person who is elder to you. Young, youthful boys and girls teach you so much. So therefore, I think that is something where I believe the energy need to be channelized. The teachers who are here, the staff who is here, I think they have created this institution which is amongst the top. This part of the country, amongst the top, rubbing shoulders with very, very old and established schools over the country. So there is some magic which is happening there, right? You can feel that better. I'm not here in class and I'm not here all the time. But that magic which is weaving around us, we need to realize that it is happening. That's the first thing. And then we need to be aware of whatever is happening. Pick up the good things, pick up the good learnings, carry that with you, filter out what is negative. Generally, it is the other way. Negative things we pick up and the good things are just not seen or forgotten. Right. And what will also propel the youthful energy is cooperating and competing. Both things have to happen together. You just can't say, I'm just competing. Because when you're competing, you're cooperating with someone else. Right? You're spending some time and you're picking up or learning from the system around you. And therefore, I believe India is in a very, very good position today. The challenges can be really channelize the young population, the young India. And that will only happen with education. Otherwise, it just cannot come on its own. And I have said this many number of times, and I can repeat it again today. Every child born in the world comes with inherent potential in him or her. It is education which decides which side of the line you're going to stand on. Are you going to be a contributing citizen of the country, or are you going to be a laggard or a liability? And therefore, we need to stress and we need to put more focus on quality education. And quality education has to be not only a sub-quality school, but even a school in the slums, even private schools for that matter. My pain is that one is getting into education to create personal wealth, which is not right. While it is the government's, it is their job to provide education, provide home and food, provide healthcare services. A country like India with such a large population and diverse challenges, I believe what governments are doing, the private sector cannot do that. But in a way, private sector can be a partner in that journey. And that is what we are doing at Bharti Foundation in our small way. And that's how Bharti is engaging with higher education institutions also. And for me, every Satyan going out, passing out of Satpal Mittal School, pursuing his or her dreams, you started very early. I'm sure some of them are still thinking of what needs to be done. But today's event is going to inspire all of them who are here. And I don't know whether this podcast is live or whether it's going to be... Oh, it's live. So whoever is hearing that, you have inspired all of us. And let me also, tell you, and I had written to Bhupendra, we are going to create the Hall of Fame in the library, and your picture will be up there.
Thank you.
the Platinum Award, I'll be very happy if it comes every day. The students excel, and there is one another Namya Joshi, or there is one another Satyan who's got inspired today. But clearly, in the Hall of Fame, we will have the Platinum Awards and the gold medals. The platinum medals and the gold medals will go up in the Hall of Fame, and you will be the star shining up.
Thank you. I agree with the point that you said about learning, and people say like hard work is the key to success all the time, but it is also about how much we are learning and how much we're able to get the quality education. Because it doesn't that's why we say quality over quantity, and it doesn't how much education you're getting, but the quality of education is what matters. And when it comes to the youth, they are beyond spectacular. Today's youth is so much energized. They're into every single field, doing so many things. And they have the zeal to empower people as well as keep on learning. And today, like you said, everybody here is the youth themselves. And if they do have potential, but if they know how to apply their potential, then our future is very secure. Right, sir. So, first of all, I'd say that again, it's an honor for me to get an opportunity to speak with a person like your stature, sir. So, that's why I believe that appreciation is very important, because every small motivation helps us to continue on our path. So, how do you seek validation for your work, sir?
For my work? Well, I would say, right from the very beginning, when we started our journey as the first generation entrepreneurs, we kept one goalpost or one mantra in front of us. There's an old age saying, to make a buck. Everyone here has heard that. And we three said that for us, this has to be something different. Making a buck, everyone does that. And that is a time when we said we will follow the mantra of to make a buck, to make a huge impact or a difference. So that was the starting point. And I am very, very happy that in all my businesses, if I talk about, we started with manufacturing of telephones, so that was our entry into the telecom, and now mobile telephony from Airtel, is changed the way we live. Is empowered people at the bottom of the pyramid to earn decent, respectful living and increasing their income levels. I can give you a few examples. I remember a couple of years ago, not even a couple, it started in 1995, so I would say early 2000. I was driving through Gurugram, and I saw a laborer talking to probably his family or someone on the mobile phone. And I said, wow, this guy doesn't have a fixed line phone at home, the landline, but he has a mobile phone. And that's the empowerment. You are putting the power of communication. You are putting the wherewithal to be connected with your family and friends. Similarly, when you see the fisherman going out to fish, every time he would come back and dock, the middleman will not give him much money. Once mobile telephony came in, before even the fisherman has hit the shore, he's made 10 calls. Whoever is giving him the best price, he goes, docks and gives his fish. The income level is gone. So I think that is the validation of the choice we made and the path we took about making money, but making that money for the good and betterment of society around us. Whether it is through products and services, or for that matter, if I talk about my philanthropic initiative under Bharti Foundation. Today, we reach out to roughly about 300,000 kids in schools every single day. But 40,000 in my Bharti schools, which we run, manage, and operate, and about 700 government schools where we run quality support program. It is changing it is making a huge difference. The kids in the same government schools who were never there, or the teachers who were never found, the kids don't want to go back home, teachers have to teach. That's the change we are making. So my validation, if I say on the softer front or on the social causes, my CEO asked me, you want me to run this program. So what do you see I need to deliver? I said, look, I don't want any profits from it. This is all one-way street. We are giving free education. We are not charging a single rupee. So there is no profits. It's only I need to make sure that you have all the resources. And that I'm talking about the Satya Bharti schools. I said, deliver me 40,000 smiles every morning. And that's what I see when I go. So it validates that whatever we are doing it right. Very recently, we have picked up a school. This is the GEMS Modern Academy. The GEMS group of, they set up some schools. I just took over April 1 from them, the Gurugram school. And then I went and were interacting with the teachers. So Mamta was the CEO of the foundation. She was making a presentation, and in that the Sukhol Mittal School came up, and the pictures showed we had the sitting president, a former president, army chiefs who visited these schools. So one of the teachers said, will we also have VIP? That's the word she used. I generally say eminent people, but whatever. Coming to school, I said, yes, why not? But before that, when I went the first time, and I was talking about something on the technology thing we were discussing, and I happened to refer your name. And the vice principal of the school says, we all know Namya. I said, okay, very good. Now, during this interaction, they asked me, one of the teachers stood up. He said, would it be possible for Namya to come and interact with us? And without asking and checking with you, I said, absolutely. I'm making that commitment. It's a validation that the subcommittee school is preparing the young guys like you. And there are many. I'm sure there are many of us sitting here today who would be inspired by this. Right? I mean, when you say you've taken the workshops of 10,000, including some teachers, Satya said 1,000, and I can tell you, I mean, when you were meeting Satya, Bhupender called me. I said, leave it to me. I'll ensure that Satya meets. The system came back and said, there's a last minute request, it doesn't happen like that. This is on record, I don't want to say. After this goes away, or anyway, I had to arm twist the system. And you were there up on stage. So that's a validation of the subcommittee school, supporting you, preparing you, not only for what you have done and achieved, but for many, many more glorious things which you are going to achieve in the future. It's a validation, right? And that is an initiative of the trust. Vipin is involved here on a very regular basis. And that gives me the confidence and the validation that good quality education can make a person, can prepare a person to face any challenge in life, in whatever form it is. And that is where I always keep saying that never get daunted by the challenges, because they are never so big that you cannot tackle them, as long as you know the inherent potential energy which you carry with you to take on and solve those challenges or problems.
Right, so that's really inspiring. And I think everybody here present would believe and would always go with the thing that you said, that make a buck and inspire people around you. And that's exactly what we have to do. We have to keep on making small changes to make larger impacts. so that quality education again can take us forward as one economy and not just people working for different wealths, but for everybody around them to take the world forward as one. Right, so may I ask this that you had to describe yourself in one word? What would that be and why?
In one word?
Yes.
Because self-assessment is always very, very tough. You know that.
I agree.
Yeah. Happy.
Oh, that's great. Then I like that.
I think again, there are a couple of things around that. I did talk about one of the things where I pick up my happy moments, very, very small things which happen around me. I love walking in the rain. So if it's raining, I never run getting out of a car into the building or from a building going in. I don't take the umbrella unless it's pouring. And then you have to, you're wearing a suit. So that is one. I think the second is one needs to be content in life. The problem we have is, and this is self-created stress and tension. We always say that आज मैं स्कूटर पे हूँ अगर मेरे को छोटी गाड़ी मिल गई तो I'll be happy. You get the choti car and then you say, "No, I now need a mid segment," and then you need or for that matter, मेरे को बड़ा कार चाहिए. मेरे पास बड़ा कार होगा तो I'll be happy. I think for me, happiness has been part of the journey which I have traveled so far. So if you can be happy through the journey which you are going through, and rather than waiting for the destination to come and then be happy, you can never be happy. Because by the time you reach the destination, your goalpost changes and there's another destination which you strive for. So I think one needs to be content. The other thing which I learned from my father very early in life was, he used to say, he says, जो माथे पे तुम्हारे लिखा हुआ है वो ना कोई तुमसे ले सकता है, ना लोगों को दे सकता है, ना कोई बदल सकता है. और अगर बदलना है तो only you can bring a change yourself. No one else can. They can enable you, but you'll have to do that. And that comes through hard work, passion, all those things. So for me, I think being content, and there was I don't remember the exact, but generally what happens is we pray to God that I want this, and you don't get it, so you feel unhappy. Next time you go, you ask for something which is even bigger or higher than what you had asked earlier, you don't get it, and so you start feeling restless. But we forget that God is saying you are asking from me which is good or better. I am waiting for that moment where you get the best from me. Right? So therefore, I think that is something which we must all keep in mind. And one other thing is, when we are following the goalpost, a target, or a dream, generally to pursue your goal dreams, enable you to stretch beyond, go walk that extra mile. And as they say, when you reach an end, it is never an end, it is just a bend. So the opportunity is waiting around the corner, and you just have to move in that direction. So I would say it's very easy for me what I said. It sounds very difficult because people can say that you can preach because you have money today, so you can talk. I'm talking when we started our journey, we were very, very small in our businesses, small businesses. But my fundamental, the value system which I learned from my parents, that really enabled me to be what we are at and what I am.
That's so encouraging, sir. And I also believe in this thing that when we sing about we've reached at a certain place, that's exactly what we wanted. And that's when people start saying that I didn't want it to be here. Like I wanted to see how my journey went, and I want to look back at how I started my journey, and those were the happiest moments of my life. I think that's when people realize that when they reach success, they see that how their journey went. And the ones who always think it's always just about reaching, they actually don't receive like the proper happiness of life. Because, like you said, I believe in the same thing, that every small moment of your life, that you should enjoy it to the fullest, because you never know what's upcoming for you, and God is always having the best in store for you. So that's very moving, sir.
Yeah, but I can also just add to that, I also believe, and I've been saying this umpteen number of times, you have to live in that moment. And for me, every single day is an opportunity to laugh, to love, to smile, to be with friends, to pursue my passion. Every single day. So if you have that in front of you, at the end of the day, you have not only lived that day in its fullest. You have not only enjoyed every moment, and probably every moment can't be a happy moment. Also, let me say that. I mean, there could be some sad moments as well. But in the end, you have lived that day to the fullest. Right? Every day, if you live to the fullest, life becomes a dream. Life becomes something which you want to live. Life becomes something where you are gaining experience every single day. Life becomes, gives you that, or empowers you to share your experiences with others. So that's how I think one can lead a very simple and a happy life.
Right, sir. I agree. So moving on to the next question. So this is something.
So many questions.
This is the last one, sir.
Okay.
Something off topic, and I'm sure the audience watching us would love to hear this. Have you done something mischievous in your school life?
Lots. But I can tell you I was still the submissive one. But still had done lots. Don't ask me what.
Okay. Okay, no problem, so that's fine. So in the end, we sign off, sir. We would love to have a message from you for the audience.
Before that, I haven't given you the commitment to come to the school in Hyderabad. By the way, we'll change the name to Satya School as soon as we get the approval.
For sure, sir.
When? Give me a date. I need to go back.
Okay, sir. I probably will let you know. I'll have to confirm from my timing.
Oh boy, that's a good one. So give me the number of your assistant or secretary. I can reach out to him.
Sir, I am a one-man company.
Okay. All right. Well, I would like to give basically, two messages to the youth, to young boys and girls. And we learned much later in life. Generally, this learning comes later in life only, but since I have learned, I'll be happy to share. Most of the times, and this is for every human being, I mean, it's nothing new for what I'm going to say. We always want authority without being accountable for what we do. And my view is that before we ask for authority, we must be responsible for all the actions which we take. And therefore, when we say we need authority, before that it is responsibility. Are you a responsible citizen of India? Are you a global responsible citizen? And that responsibility is not just, earning and taking care of your families or your elderly parents, but ecology, environment. There are so many things. If we talk of the carbon emissions which are engaging the world today, India is moving towards higher use of renewable energy. So responsibility is one I would leave as a thought and as a lesson. The second would be everything and anything which we do must be part of nation building. So my action should strengthen the country in a very small way, because you are not in the governance, I am not in the governance, but each citizen of India can make that happen. The third I would say is passion. You must have passion in what you are doing. You cannot pursue your dreams if you are not passionate. I am very passionate. I love going to my office. I mean, this lockdown was miserable. And as soon as it opened, I hit the office in September 2020. Unless it was again, we dropped back in, I've been going to office. But anyway, the passion to pursue your dreams. So, we say it's good to dream, or it's good to dream big. But then your own education, your own passion should make you restless to pursue those dreams. So passion is the other way. And the last would be, you also have to be compassionate. For a country like India, inclusive growth is something which is not only the responsibility of the governments of the day, whether at the national level or at the state level. Every citizen is responsible for that. You cannot have islands of health. You cannot have islands of happiness if there is turmoil around. And therefore, whether it is the governments, whether it is the India Inc., the corporates, whether it's the NGOs and civil society, or the individuals, everyone must contribute to ensure that we are uplifting the disadvantaged sections of the society so that they can have 2 square meals, or they should have nutritious meals for their children. They can pay and support their kids for education and higher education. So being compassionate is something which is extremely important. And this is something which has been part of our religion, part of our history, part of our Vedas. I mean, that's what they teach us even today. So that is one set of thought which I wanted to leave. The second I will talk about is again on the dreams. When you dream, your dreams convert into desires. So when you desire something, those desires must be then followed vigorously with determination, which will ensure your destiny for tomorrow in the future. So I thought I'll just leave these 2 thoughts.
That's really stimulating. And I agree with the point that we have to be responsible. And also, for the nationwide, I've always been believing that we have to work on making our country Atmanirbhar by following our Prime Minister's motto of having Atmanirbhar Bharat, so that we all can be compassionate to people as well as follow our passion. And we're talking about the dream thing. I believe, like you said, dreaming big isn't just enough. We have to start visualizing our dream and start implementing it, and then after all the hard work, we have success, but never stop innovating, because again, life never stops teaching you in every single way.
That's right. Which pastry do you love the most? I saw pizzas and pastries. Your favorite food?
I guess chocolate.
I love pineapple.
Oh, that's great.
I can't have a chocolate.
Okay, so before we end, I'd like to say this quote that strive not to be a success, but to be a value. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us and listening to us. And before we end, so I have my own merchandise that my friend inside etc. To the token of gratitude, I would like to give you some of the merchandise that I've got for you. And then you can also be a brand ambassador of my merchandise that I have. For now, I gave about 55 first as a gift for all the educators. Then I had sold 33 for now. So 33. So I got them for rupees 280, and then for 500 I sold them each shirt. So I've been able to make around 10,000 rupees for profit. For profit. I got that actually. Okay, so. So this is shirt. So you can always wear the shirt, take a picture, and then I will.
The biggest brand ambassador saying Namya Joshi is a sub. I do that every place where I go.
Thank you so much.
I don't know whether no, we haven't. He doesn't mind her. I said, no, she's the master.
Sure, I would love to be here. Thank you so much.